Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how you can build your own AI agent in VS Code with the AI Toolkit extension and the Azure AI Foundry extension. So I'm going to do a live demo to show you how you can do this. So let me switch over to VS Code. So in order to do this, we're going to leverage the AI Toolkit extension for Visual Studio Code. So what this does is it allows you to connect to your own language models, whether that's hosted in GitHub, on Azure, locally using Ollama, or anywhere that you have, and being able to use that model to integrate it into your AI development workflow. The other extension I'm going to be showing a bit later in this demo is the Azure AI Foundry extension. This extension connects to your Azure resources and allows you to make changes to your resources and interact directly with your resources directly within VS Code. Some of the things that you can have access to are your already deployed agents, your models that you hosted on Azure, as well as your chat history with your agents. So I'm going to start off with the AI Toolkit extension. So on the left-hand side of your VS Code, there is the AI Toolkit tab and if you click on it, you will see three sections: your models, a catalog, tools, and some help and feedbacks. The first one that we're going to take a look at is a model catalog. So if you click on the models, it will open the model catalog. Let's give it a second to load. So on the top, we will have a list of popular models that's curated by the AI Toolkit team. So some of the ones that's up here are the DeepSeek models, GPT family models, as well as other ones. And under here, there are different, under here we have all the models that we have available in the extension. So you can search for it. For example, I can search for Gemini-based models, or you can filter it by host. So we have GitHub-Hosted, Anthropic-Hosted, OpenAI, and all the other ones. We also have, you can also filter by publisher. So Microsoft, DeepSeek, Google. So we support pretty much every single model that's out there. You can also filter by features. So things like image, audio, video, as well as model type. So you can run it with your GPUs, CPUs, and etc. So most of the models that you can see are hosted by GitHub. So what it does is it takes your GitHub login and it connects to the GitHub models server. And whenever you add a model, it will basically deploy it it will use a GitHub deployment of it. And it comes free with your GitHub account. But it doesn't have a quota limit, so make sure you know how much you're using. For example, I can add, let's see, any suggestions on which model you guys want me to add? Yeah, okay. I already have a 4.0 deployed, so I'm just going to add this DeepSeek model just to show you how it works. So when I press the add button, now it says added, and it created one over here under the GitHub section. So let's go back to the 4.0 one that we talked earlier. So I have one already added. I can double click on this 4.0 model, and it will open up a model playground. So it's using the 4.0 deployment that I have in GitHub, and I can ask it questions such as, let's say, explain recursion to someone without program knowledge. So I'm asking it to explain recursion to someone without any programming knowledge. So it's going to go through the generation. So let's give it a second to finish. Okay, now the model has finished. So it's going to give you an answer, and this is all using the GitHub deployment. So right now, it's not costing you any money. So you can also add your own models. So I'm going to show you how can use Ollama. So I have Ollama already installed on my local machine, and I can press this plus icon on next to my models. And I can choose Ollama models and select models from Ollama library. So what this does is scans your computer for any Ollama installations that you have. So I already have DeepSeek and Gemma 3 installed on my local machine. They are the smallest versions, so it's not going to be the most powerful ones, but it's still going to, but it will still work. So let's pick the Gemma 3 model and press OK. And under the Ollama, it will create a new Ollama section with Gemma 3 installed. So I can do the same thing by double click on it. Now it's going to choose my local Ollama model, and I can do the same thing with my GPT model earlier by asking it the same question. So now I have these two models added to VS Code. I can click on this compare button. So right now I have Gemma 3 open. So let's pick the 4.0 model in GitHub. So what's going to happen is it brings up the side-by-side comparison of the two models. So if I ask the same question, so explain recursion to someone with programming knowledge. So as I was typing, the question gets duplicated on both sides. And I press enter. It basically sends a query to both models, and it will give you side-by-side comparisons. This demo computer doesn't have a GPU, so I'm using a CPU version of Gemma, so it's going to run a little bit slow. And let's give it a second for it to finish generating. But yeah, the idea is you can see the side-by-side returns of different models, so you can pick the one that's better suited for whatever task that you're trying to do. I'm not going to wait for this to finish because it's going to take a while, so I'm just going to jump into the next step. There are a few other tools that you see here on the left. Next one we're going to jump into is evaluations. So if you click on the evaluation one, I already ran some. So basically, so how this works is we have some built-in evaluators to see whether how good your model performs. So let me create a new evaluation here. And these are some of the built-in ones. You can also add your own evaluators. If you switch to the evaluators tab, you can create a new evaluator, and you can choose whether to do a Python-based one or a LLM-based one. So if I choose like the Python-based one, I can and then it can generate code. So you basically write a Python function as your custom evaluator that you can add to your evaluation flow. Going back to the evaluations here, let me create a new one. And I'm going to choose some of the pre-configured ones that's already built in. And I'm actually going to switch over to a GPT 4.0 model I have deployed on Azure AI Foundry because I don't want to hit any rate limit issues. And I'm going to import a data set. Yeah, I'm going to choose a JSON line file. I think I chose the wrong one. Give me a second. Or I can pick a sample data set as well. So basically what this is, it's a JSON live file with your query. So this is a question that you send to your model, the ground truth. So what the ideal answer would be, and the response that the model gives you. Now, what you can do to actually get this file, you can use a bulk run option. So it basically runs your queries in bulk in sequence, and it'll produce a JSON line file. So, but over here, I have these two ready, so I can just press run evaluation. and it's running. I can show the logs. Let's give it a second for the evaluation to finish running. While it's running, the logs will appear on your output section, so you can see how things are. So it seems like it's finished, so it's just wrapping up. And now it has finished the evaluation run. It will basically return the score. And if you want to take, let's say if you have like hundreds of these evaluation runs, you can open in Data Wrangler, which will provide you a nice UI view of your table. The Data Wrangler is using Python to render all your code, so it is going to take a little bit while to open, but as you can see, you have some basic summary statistics as well as some quick charts and graphs that you can use. From here, you can export to a Jupyter notebook or to a Python file, basically, and go from there. So now let's say you have a model that you have that you're satisfied with. Now let's build an actual agent with it. So on the left-hand side, there is an agent builder one, and you can it's going to do the same thing. It's going to ask you for a model. Let me pick my the one I have deployed in Azure. So it's going to ask you for two things: system prompts and user prompts. So system prompts are the instructions for the agent, and the user prompt is a question that you ask the agent. So writing system prompts is often a pain point for most developers because a good, well-crafted prompt is going to be very long. It's going to have like examples, sample outputs, instructions, and things like that. We provided a simple way of actually generate a system prompt just by asking a question. So I can click on this generate system prompt, and let's say my task is you are a teaching assistant at the university for computer science classes. So I'm just gonna tell it what I want this agent to do, and I press generate. After a while, it's gonna come back with a generated system prompt. So it's like you're a teaching assistant for computer science classes at a university. Your role is to assist students with questions, clarify concepts, and solve problems, provide resources, and etc. So it's gonna outline the steps that the agent will do, the output format, some example questions or responses, and a few notes. So basically, it takes the idea of writing a system prompt from like a complicated long process into a simple click. So from here, you can like keep making edits for your agent, or you can go straight into ask a question. So I have an agent that I already built out previously. So a brief idea of what this agent does is you imagine you are doing an escape route and you have an AI agent that's right next to you, help you to answer any questions that you have about the escape room, any logistics, any like clarifying questions or any hints that you might want to ask. So basically, you have 3 escape rooms that the agent has access to: the haunted house, the secret lab, or the pirate's cove. And here are some of the guidelines that the agent will follow. And I also configured this agent with an MCP server. So if you're not familiar with MCP servers basically there are a list of tools that the agent has access to, and it calls it automatically when they think it needs to. How you add an MCP server is just by clicking this add button. All right, this one is already the one I have pre-configured. but you can also add a server over here to connect to an existing one. The one that I have created is actually a custom one, which I have over here. So basically use the the FastMCP server library, and I can define functions for the agents to call. Right now, I'm just hard coding these values into my function, but you can replace that hard coded value with something like a database retrieval or a file system retrieval on your computer, or even use it to look up on the internet as well. So coming back over here, and let's take a look at this file, which is the settings that I use to actually run my MCP server. So I'm giving a Python environment to run, and I'm providing the file, which is a server.py that I just showed you. So I'm asking the question of, to the agent to get the current process for the lab, which is one of the escape rooms that the agent has access to. And I can press run, and the output will show on the right. Yeah, let's give it a second to finish calling. So yeah, as you can see, it detected that it has an access, it has a function called get room progress, and it passes in the value of the room as a variable, and it returns an answer. And then the model will parse that response from the tool and provide you with a human readable response. Pretty much everything on the AI Toolkit. Any questions from the audience? Yeah, so basically, let's say your question is like, can you help me with can you give me a hint for a lab, for example, right? So it's the model is detecting, okay, you want hints, and the room is the lab. And so it goes through the list of tools that you have. See, okay, is there a tool in my tool list that can help with that query? So yeah. So in here, I don't think there is any tools that that basically can help with it. So now it checks. So it looks at the system prompt. It's like, okay, if I can't do anything with it, what would be like a logical response, right? So yeah. So if a request is unclear, ask for clarifying questions. If the interaction with empty server fails or as a capacity, inform the user and suggest alternative approaches. So we can try it. So let's say okay, you and I run this. Let's see what there is. Yeah, so it's just gonna give you generic hints, the generic helpers basically. But if you have a dedicated tool that's oh. Oh, right, yeah. Basically, it's yeah, the idea is when you're asking for a hint, it basically can prevent you from enjoying playing a room, right? So it's you have to make sure that that is something that the user wants. So potentially anything destructive won't happen, basically. Okay, now let's go to the Azure AI Foundry part of this. So Azure AI Foundry also leverages the tools, the agents, the models, and the other parts. So there's also a model catalog, but this model catalog is dedicated to only the models that you can deploy on Azure. And so right now I have a few models that's already deployed, and let's give it a second for it to load. Yeah, so I have a GPT-4o mini model, 2 DeepSeek models, and a 4o model. If you want to deploy more, you can directly deploy it in the model catalog. Let's see. Let's pick 41 nano. And it's going to ask you to choose AI service, a model version, a deployment set type, just going to pick default, and a model name. And it's going to ask you to double check, make sure you do want to deploy a model because it can potentially incur costs on your entire subscription, and you can press deploy. I won't press deploy right now because I don't have a quota to it. So let's go back to the 4.0 model again. So you can actually right-click on the 4.0 model. You can choose a code file, and I'm going to choose the Azure OpenAI library with Python and with Entra ID authentication. So it's going to generate you a code file to basically help you get started directly with code. So once you make changes to this code file, you can just Python, use Python to run this file, and it will basically, as long as you set up your Entra ID, your endpoints, and all your connectors, and it should basically work. So if you, let's say you want to check out what your 4.0 model is, so if you click on just one of them, it's going to bring up some of the a model information card for you. So from here, you can edit it. You can change your rate limits. So I'm just going to set it to the highest so I don't want to run into the issue. Change the model version it needs to be, as well as your endpoint URLs, your keys, and things like that. There are sample code repos as well as any tutorials related to the model, should there be any. So that's with models. So we can also create agents. These are a little bit different from the agents that AI Toolkit allows you to create, but we want to make sure that it's the same. So right now, over here, I have a few agents deployed. So this is a shopping agent that I've designed. So basically, you are a fashion assistant AI that can help recommend products by purchasing and by purchase things online, searching online, and help you personalize your outfit. So how it works is I can open the YAML file for this agent, and you can make changes to these YAML files and basically configure things that it can do. So we also have a agent visual designer to help you to create things. So if you don't want to write YAML code, you can use the designer. So anything that you make on the left will get synced to the visual editor on the right, and anything that you change in the visual editor, it will be reflected in the YAML file on the left. So if I delete these two for example, the tool section is removed. So I can, for example, add it back. We also have IntelliSense built into your YAML file to basically help you quickly to write code. So I'm going to give the agent the abilities to use Bing search, and it's going to pre-populate, and I can pick the Bing search resource that I've created in Azure. It's going to it will basically fill it for you, so you don't have to go back to your Azure portal. You don't need to memorize anything. It will just deploy it for you. And as you can see, the change I made here on the left is automatically reflected on the right. Yeah, I can also add a second tool, and we're gonna give the ability to execute code, and the code interpreter tool will also be added on the right. And I can update the agent definition on Azure since I didn't make any changes, so I don't need to. I can just close this, and you can open this agent. You can also open this agent in the agent playground. So a view only of the agent designer that you saw earlier will be shown. So this is help you to make sure you don't make any accidental changes to your agent while you have it deployed. But you can also see what the agent is capable of doing. So let's say let's ask it a question. Since it's a fashion agent, I can, and with the ability to search the internet, maybe I can ask it can you running a pair of running shoes that are not, that is Nike or Adidas. So I'm asking you to recommend me a pair of running shoes that's not made by Nike or Adidas. So what it does is it uses a Bing search tool that it has. It does a web search and it will return an answer as well as annotations on where it got the answer from. So you can click on these to navigate to the website to one, double check your answer, two, to see if that answer actually makes sense. So it seems like it recommended some brands and it provides some example shoes. And you can ask their follow-up questions. Let's say, like, can you tell me more about the Brooks Ghost series? So let's see what it returns. So again, it's doing a few more Bing searches to basically get the answer that you want, and it will and it provides you a little bit of details. So and I can do also another follow-up question. What is the current price for this? So again, it does another Bing search to basically give you roughly $150 for that pair of shoes. Since I already also have the code interpreter tool, so let's ask it a question that can potentially involve using some code to do. So let's say we want to let's say we want to get the average temperature in Pittsburgh for the past year. So and let's ask the agent to create a graph of it. So what it needs to do is it needs to be able to search online to find the average temperature of Pittsburgh for the last 12 months, and needs to use the code interpreter tool to actually write code to render a graph. So let's see if we can do that. Search online for the average temperature of Pittsburgh for each month and and although it might not provide me the answer because I just realized it's using the fashion agent instructions, but let's see. Yeah, so yeah, it's not gonna give me a response. So I do have, let's see if this one has it. Yeah, but the idea, yes, but then the idea is it can perform both web searches as well as code execution. We can actually make a new. Let's go back. I can actually modify this agent to give it the ability to write code. Then we can try that again. Give it a code interpreter tool. Update this agent. And yeah, so I just updated this agent to have the code interpreter tool. So let's try the same question again. So it's going to do some Bing groundings. It seems like they can't find any. So seems like I can't find any answers, but let's just say, okay, let's try something else. Yeah. Sine wave graph. It seems like I hit token limits, but yeah. So if you do want to debug what happened to your agent, there is a thread view for all of your interactions. So let's open this one that it successfully ran. The one I did in the past. This one was a fashion agent. This is a fashion agent that I just chatted with. So you can have a history view of all your interactions with an agent. Under the step details, it's going to list out all the tool calls that I use, as well as the APIs that I use and things like that. And as you can see, the last step, something went wrong. I can open the step details to take a look at what exactly happened. If you want more information, there is the JSON version of it, which is basically the one that we store on the server for you. That's pretty much everything that I have prepared today. Any questions from the audience? All right. If there's no questions, then thanks everyone for coming today, and I hope you guys have a great bike. All right.